Right. Coach Helen for YouFit Studio, talking about the 5 principles of good nutrition, or better nutrition. I keep saying good, and it's actually better. Better nutrition, let's use language. So better nutrition. And these come out of the most, I repeat, the most asked questions that I receive, because I've done that a lot over the last couple of weeks when it comes to Facebook Lives. I've just given you guys what you've asked for, which is, what the hell, Helen, I have a question about ... And so these 5 things have come out of that. So they've come out of that situation. So I'll start with one that I have, and some of these I have actually covered in individual lives. However, this is like a summary. This is a summary of. So let's go. Look at my tan line. Look at my watch. Where are we now? August. So I have 5 months of lives. I'm just going to summary in 20 minutes while showing you my tan line. I don't know, why would you look at your watch? I don't even know what time of the day it is, let alone the month. So this is basically a summary of some of these, yes. And also, if you've missed any of them, this just makes it a lot easier for you, right? So number one of the principles of better nutrition, I've talked about it, is to understand your own energy balance, or understand that there is an energy balance. And in as much as, and I like to draw a seesaw normally, always consider that you have to create a calorie deficit somewhere. So somewhere with the energy in your food, if that is one side of balance, there must be an expenditure on the way out that is greater than for you to lose weight. In as much as, not that I'm asking people to count calories, it's also though in consideration of being aware of your own balance. So that means as an individual, because it is individual, this balance, it's not the same for every person ever, which makes it really complicated, doesn't it? It could be straightforward if the same for everybody. That'd be really easy. So the energy balance for you as an individual, it's great to understand that, okay, if I push how many calories or how much energy I consume over a week or weekend, this is how much expenditure or activity or exercise I need to be doing during the week or after the weekend or before the weekend to ensure that I'm always in a deficit when it comes to energy balance. So I'm always in a position, boom, sorry, there we go, light, let there be lights. You go back. No, I prefer it without. There should always be a deficit so that you are losing weight if that is your goal. So understanding your own energy balance allows you to take back some control. So that's number one of the principles of nutrition. Furthermore, it's really important to understand the things that impact your energy balance, because once you learn it, doesn't mean it doesn't change. And this is where energy balance throws people off. Because and I've talked about this before, if I take somebody who was prior to lockdown, their energy balance would look a particular way and would be not relatively straightforward. We'd have a lot of data to understand it. Going into lockdown, everybody's energy balance changed quite drastically. In that a lot of people discovered that there's a lot of energy going in, very little energy going out on a regular basis. And that gave them a different outcome away from what they'd experienced before. It's not only a change, a big change like that that's going to change your energy balance. It's things like stress. So how are your stress levels? As you heightened in that fight or flight state of mind where you're constantly kind of burning things away? Or is your sleep been impacted? So if your sleep's been impacted, that will also impact your energy balance or how that sways. Because you'll tend to be consuming more energy in, generally speaking. Appetite generally, so appetite will also impact that. That's a lot to do with stress as well. If your appetite is impacted by stress, you may find that you're someone who stress eats, or you may also find you're somebody that does not eat when they are stressed, one or the other, right? So that will massively impact how your energy balance is for that period of time. So that's the thing. The principle is knowing your energy balance, and also knowing then how to adapt it to different points in your life where things change, and therefore your energy in and out change as well, right? So it's important to understand and know, so that you can almost control it, so that, you know, if anything major was to happen again, like this year, you would have a better way of understanding how to shift that balance and keep it in your favour to still be losing weight, whether or not your sleeping quality is great, whether or not you're in high stress, dependent on your appetite, or how often you're exercising or not exercising, or how much you're consuming in terms of energy, calories, cake, whatever, banana bread, as it turns out, for this year. I want to take a guess at the most consumed energy in product for this year, and product thing. I'm hard pushed between fridge cake, banana bread. What else? What must be the most consumed? Look, maybe we should make this a quiz for the insider for YouFit. Let's take a vote. What do you think the most ate item during lockdown was? Because I'm thinking banana bread. I saw that much banana bread. Yeah. If you're stuck ever consuming a lot of banana bread again in an indoor situation, knowing your energy balance allows you to eat brownies, eat banana bread and still lose weight, or brownies. I'm guessing no nuts in those brownies though. Sad times. Not donuts, Hina. Oh, I'm gonna start. I know my own energy balance, so I've not ate since 8 o'clock this morning because I'm eating out this evening, so my energy balance has been tipped, hence why we should stop talking food. So let's talk about more food and talk about protein. Damn it. Protein. Yeah, this is why I always do lives. Carbs, any carbs has been consumed. I know why I do lives about foods when I've been using my own energy balance to tip it somewhere else. Protein is, and I'm going to do another live on protein actually. I think it's next week. I think I'm doing a repeat live on protein because it is one of the main principles of great nutrition. For lots of reasons which I have covered before, and I will cover again in more detail. But the main ones are recovery, great amount of recovery. Principally fantastic for saving lean body mass. So if you're losing fat, it's great to have something that's protecting your lean body mass, and that is what's going to help you through protein. It just looks after your hair, looks after your nails. It has a high satiety, keeps you fuller for longer, easy. And we talked about the meat sweats at length in that last live. We won't go there again. However, when you're eating protein, it takes your body more calories to digest protein. Therefore, not all calories are created equal in that sense, and protein is one of those ones we love because it takes more calories to consume it. That doesn't mean you can just eat a whole chicken every meal, by the way, and lose weight. However, it has a very strong place, and that's why we encourage clients to have that in as many meals as they can. Third fantastic principle, right, of great nutrition, or better nutrition, keep saying it, is the more processed food is, the less nutrition it's going to hold. Sounds like an obvious statement. However, let's make it again. The more processed the food you consume, the less nutrition it holds. Generally speaking, all foods will have preservatives if they're processed. You will find less fibre, right? So you find less fibre, more additives, more salt, more trans fats or unhealthy fats. You'll find all the stuff that gives... I've always wondered this. I don't know I can't remember what it was. I often see this though. If you ever find something on the shelf and look at the sell-by date and just wonder, like it's about 4 years from now, and you're thinking, let me look at my tan line again. How is that possibly going to live that long? And yet, as much as that's a concern, I think sometimes they're like, that is not meant to live that long, surely. And I'm not talking things in a tin, by the way. I'm talking about things that are on a shelf. You're like, how does a shelf life live this long? How is that possible? So yeah, they do though, because of all the things that are added to them and all the things that are taken out. Again, hence why, where possible, we're asking we talk to clients when they work with us to move away from as much processed food as they can, or slowly if they can't. So they're moving away from all the things that are keeping them where they are in terms of health, and actually move towards, and I know how I feel about this term myself either, whole foods, as if there's part foods. Whole foods as in things that are not actually come naturally in packages and have a shelf life or a sell-by date that's within this decade, more often than not, is always going to benefit you. Always. I often wonder what happens to all that stuff you consume, right? But actually, so just to repeat so far what we've got. So number 1, let's go back to basics, Helen. Like week 4 in lockdown, can't count. Number 1, weight loss is a game of finding your energy balance, right? So find your energy balance. 2, protein is a fantastic macronutrient and has fantastic qualities, and that's why we're adding it to meals. 3, the more processed food it is, the less nutrition it holds for you, even though it might hold a hell of a lot more calories. And all the bread, Joe. All the bread, Joe's adding this with a bread emoji. All the bread through lockdown, yeah. All the bread. I mean, the homemade bread I can get with. There's lots of other stuff that got brought up as well. All the breads, banana or otherwise. Number 4. These are corkers, and yet if you add these all together, you will be banging quite quickly. 4, fruit and veg are flipping awesome. I mean, that isn't what you'll find in an encyclopedia, that terminology. It is flipping awesome though. And if anyone wants to see some of the studies, just welcome. I do read these studies. I read the end of the studies where I get the actual information, not all the data. Reducing, there's 20 years of research now showing that they do reduce disease, right? They help you deal with diabetes, stroke, heart disease, blood pressure, cancers even, there's been some studies on. Antioxidants in loads of these foods are fantastic to help with reducing inflammation. So let's just recap, if you're not doing any of these, right? So let's go back to number 1. So you've been over consuming energy, so you've not been in a calorie deficit for some time, so you're overweight. You're not eating any protein, so your body's not really recovering from the battering that you're giving it, and potentially not getting great sleep and stress, so you're not recovering from it. You're eating a hell of a lot of processed foods that have inflammatory E numbers, preservatives, anything you want in it, anything that has more than 1 syllable or 3 syllables on the back of the packet, right? I can't begin. It's like a language in itself. So all this stuff is all going on, and you're not having any fruit or any vegetable. There is literally no colour on your plate. It's all beige and brown, as I like to say. All the colours of beige and brown in a carb amount with no protein, no vegetables or no fruit. That is a sign of somebody who is over, and I imagine someone's doing this for, I don't know, decades. It happens. It does actually happen. It does happen. Imagine how that person's body is trying to process anything when it's not getting any micronutrients, vitamins or minerals or anything to help combat the inflammatory, all the stuff that's going in, right? All the things that's happened to somebody's body is it slowly breaks down and becomes subject to all the things I said. So diabetes, stroke, heart disease, high blood pressure, high amounts of stress, right? All the things that nobody really wants to be living with, and yet is through their nutrition. And so spin it all around and flip it all around, right? And do all the opposite things like I've just said. And then you get to number 4, still counting, and you're then adding in, you're not only finding calorie deficit, so you're losing all the weight you gained, you are able to change your energy deficit for different times, different stress levels, etc. You're including a nice quality lean protein with every meal. You're feeling fuller for longer. You're not having to snack on all the stuff or the processed food you're having throughout the day, either in the meal or during or outside the meal or before bed or whatever. And then you add in the rainbow, right? So you're adding in the rainbow. So not only are you reversing all things you've done, you're also helping support your body to ensure that you don't get back into that position by backing yourself up with all the fantastic stuff that's all in, all the vitamins, all the fun. Eat the rainbow and not Skittles. Wouldn't live by that rule. Eat the rainbow. I love that saying. So clients, please eat the rainbow for me for 7 days. I'm like, huh? And yeah, if you think if you're doing all this already and you get to number 4, and you just need to back that up with a lot of fantastic stuff that's in there. So 4, fruit and veg are flipping awesome, just are. And finally, did so much of the, I don't know if I could add all the lives I did together on sleep during lockdown. I don't know, it's probably back catalogue of about 5 hours of it. Nobody probably fall asleep listening to lives about sleep from me. At least I'm doing something. Well, that's woo! Did what I wanted to do. However, sleep is absolutely imperative when it comes to weight loss, right? You cannot do all of these things, or high-pitched voice, all of these things, and only sleep for 2 hours a night. Why, you might ask? Essentially, we have ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, right, rises when we have less sleep, and leptin, which is our fullness hormone. So what they balance, like everything in our bodies, we have a balance, like the energy balance, right? Basically starts to reduce, so you're not feeling full for as long, right? So ghrelin saying, "Hey, you are hungry all the time, guys. You're hungry." And starts to rise, and then leptin, which is one that usually says stop eating, mofo, you are full, is not communicating as efficiently. So what happens is you end up loving what Joe loves, the carbs. The carbs get loved a hell of a lot because your body's craving a quick hit of energy and is also not really communicating that it's full. Improve your sleep, and then you also improve your food choices, because not only you're knackered and grouchy, your moods, you are less likely also from a physical sense to feel the cravings for sugar and carby foods, because your leptin levels and ghrelin levels are back into balance. So they're both saying, as they are would normally, actually you're full now, stop eating, and actually you're ready to be hungry, not every 2 hours since you've woken up because you've only had 3 hours sleep, right? So all of this is great. Sleep is just like, all of them are, I can't pick one, can I? So hard to pick one. I think sleep does actually hedge it out for everything, and I tell you why, because if you don't have sleep, you can't even make a sensible choice for any rest of it. So even though I've put it in at last, it is probably, I could count it backwards and say, like, sleep is probably, for me personally speaking, opinion, sleep from experience, sleep is the most imperative, because once that goes, as we saw in week 3, everything goes downhill in terms of staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning and not waking until 10, and then body clock going off whack, choices of food going off whack, all of it. So all of this other stuff, if you're operating on low sleep, is just not going to happen anyway. Because I know if I'm working with a client and sleep's gone down that amount and much, I can't really talk about any of this stuff, because they're probably not hearing me anyway. Because they're like, not because I'm boring, I hope, just because they need sleep. So actually the main thing is to sort out sleep first and everything else. So there's my 5 from experience and from working with clients for as long as I have, and through lockdown as well. They're my 5 principles for better nutrition, and want you to get them all into place, essentially. And I will do a recap, because you know I do. So the recap, I went over, and just like I said, just because these have come out questions, so these are real life things that people real life are dealing with. Any weight loss, number 1, weight loss. You cannot create weight loss without a calorie deficit, and your calorie deficit is unique to you. And that's why if you live with people also losing weight, you might get frustrated, because theirs will be different and yours will be different, and you can eat the same foods and get different outcomes. So not only is it different between people, it's different in different scenarios based on stress, sleep, appetite, loads of different factors, points in time, points in life, like everything gets changed. It doesn't stay the same all the time. So you kind of get a grips, and you've got to learn how to adapt and create a deficit again to keep losing, and that's a fact. Second, protein. Protein is important in as many meals as you can. I went through a select couple of reasons, and we're going in depth again soon. 3, the more processed the food, the less nutrition it holds. Therefore, we want to move away from the stuff that generally has high calorie, high fats, low fiber, low everything really that's good for us, and just the high stuff like the salt, the unhealthy fats, the E numbers of doom, Move towards as little processed foods without being impossible as you can to feel the benefit. Also 4, once you've done that, you might as well slam some colour in there, because that's the stuff that's going to get you back on track and help you avoid all the stuff later on in life that would be challenging. So the more colour the better. Eat the rainbow. And finally, sleep impacts everything. Right? Without good quality sleep, your hunger and fullness hormones will be all over the place. So please get your sleep, and then you can make the choices around all the things I've gone through. And if these are things that you've not got into place yet, know that it's okay. You're going to be building on lots of things as you go along your journey. Reach out and talk to your coach if you're a member of UFIT to get some more information on anything I might have touched on today that you think, this might support me. This is something that I would like to be adding in. That's what we're here for. In the meantime, tomorrow is Friday. More storytelling time. So we're changing the story tomorrow. So join me for that one. Have a fantastic evening. It's a brilliant sunshine tonight. And I will, as usual, catch you tomorrow.